Welcome back to podcast 2. In this very brief podcast, what we're going to do is to go through how to read most of the graphs and to provide an overview of the report. Okay, there are essentially 5 key elements to the report. The first one looks at how effective your board is functioning as a group to make sure we've got the dynamics right and that we're making good decisions. The second looks at board governance, or the activities that your board actually undertakes. The third looks at whether you're effective. The fourth, people's attitudes to board membership. And the fifth provides a little bit of information on your demographics. As I said in the previous podcast, we're not actually sure what is definitely linked to effective boards and what isn't for most of the survey. However, we can show a great deal of background information for you that can give you insights as to how your board's going. To do that, you're going to be able to read the results. And what you can see over here, as I click on it, is an example of a graph. It's important that you understand what that graph is showing. On the bottom, you can see here, we have 3 pieces of text, scale 1, scale 2, scale 3. Normally, that will be a construct or an area that we know something theoretically about. Okay, so that's what we're trying to measure. That's like the topic we're trying to measure. You can see on the left here that there is a scale from 1 to 5. As you've done the survey, you will have noticed that you have to answer most things on a scale from 1 to 5. What we've done is we group together through statistical measures, through statistical processes I should say. We group together the responses of different items that are similar, that are deriving the same construct or the same idea or topic we're interested in. We then add them together for the board. And what you can see here is a representation of the results for your board. And you'll notice that there are 3 critical elements to each construct or topic of interest. First, we can see the highest average response of anyone in the group. In this particular one, it's 5. In this particular one, it's about 4.8. In this particular one, the highest response was 3. You can also see the lowest response, here around 2.5, here around 2.8, here just over 1. Then you can also see a point at which the bar changes colour subtly. That's actually the mean. What it tells you is what's the average response for your board around this item. Okay, why do we want to know this? Well, if we just report the means, right, we may in fact get a very different idea or understanding of what's going on than if we see the range of responses. You can see across these 3 items here that if we pause and look at where the mean is, here, here, and here, they're not that different. The mean runs from about 3.1 to about maybe 2.6 between the 3 items. Yet when you look at the pattern of the responses, you can see that they're very different. In this one, there's a wide spread, a wide divergence in what people think or how people think the board is going around this topic. In this one, people are fairly similar. And again, this one is somewhere in between, but highly variable, tending to show that it's rated fairly low, tending to show it's rated fairly high. So we get 2 kinds of information when we look at these bars. One, yes, we do know the average or about where we sit, but secondly, and very importantly, we get an understanding of whether there's a shared view around this topic or whether there's divergence in the board. And that can be as important as the average because it can show us that that might be an area that we actually need to clarify. Okay, now that we've looked at how to read one of the graphs and that we're reading far more than just the average, we can move into some of the substantive elements of what we're dealing with. And our first area of review, board functioning.